Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at Cadenhead's Springbank 11-year-old. 46% ABV, Dustin, like every other Springbank for the most part that we've ever tried.
Pretty much, yeah.
A few of the few cask strength single barrels, that we've tried before.
Yeah,
but
the annual Wood series.
Yes. But this time Cadenhead, man, so I'm pretty excited here. Usually this is a pretty good independent bottler, and this is a distillery that we both like, so
yeah.
I believe this is what, bourbon cask maturation?
I would assume so. I don't believe it says on there. And truth be told, it doesn't tell us how many barrels or what the yield is either. It doesn't say single barrel, so I assume this was a moderately large release.
Yeah, you're right. It's very, very plain on the label from what the information that you normally get from Cadenhead, right? Just, 46%, 11-year-old, doesn't say single barrel, doesn't say...
No neck tag, nothing, man.
Yeah, doesn't say anything...
Didn't even get a box with this one.
Nope, there you go.
They've
It says Springbank, go take it.
Exactly.
Bye.
Shout out to Whiskey Mystery for hooking me up with this one.
Thank you, my friend, as always. Anytime... Springbank's hard to get, period.
Yeah.
So anytime you get your hands on a good Springbank, it's
not
easy these days.
I get messages all the time. Hey, should I pick you this up? And I'm like, man, I just don't want to spend the money. I don't want to spend the money. He sent me that message, and I said, yes. He's like, do you want anything else off my list? And I was like, I don't want to, but yes, there might have to be something else coming.
All right, Dustin. Back to the Springbank 11-year-old.
Right back to Campbelltown.
Yeah. Twinge more sour than you would think of, say, with like a Springbank.
I was getting ready to say there's actually a hint of a lemon going on
here.
here.
Very much a sour lemon. I mean, I'm getting like kind of like a very similar experience to Springbank 10 with a sour lemon kind of.
It's kind of giving me a hint, a little bit more of like the Hazelburn 10, which is all ex bourbon. Springbank 10 usually uses a little bit of sherry casking, so you don't get kind of that. Because I've actually I sampled this last night next to two different Springbank 10s, and then that 11-year. Single barrel that we reviewed that was distilled in 1993. And the one thing that really came off about this one, it was very distinctly more bourbon oak influenced.
Yeah, I know we were kind of talking about the cask maturation earlier, and again, there may be multiple casks in this, but it feels like the heavy lifting was done by the bourbon cask for sure.
Yeah, I'm not picking up any of the notes, and I mean, when you put this side by side with those 10s, you start noticing the 10s have a nice little chocolate note that maybe you don't get otherwise, but nothing here.
Yeah. So, other than that, I tell you what, you're still getting like that Springbank funkiness. I mean, you would still get the cookies, although they're kind of infused with that kind of sour lemon note. You get like sour lemon cookies, essentially.
Hint of gasoline that I don't use. I get it occasionally on Springbank, but this one's a little heavier.
Yeah, I think that's coming off just a twinge young. I mean, 11 years old isn't.
It's not old. It's definitely on the younger side.
Mm-hmm. You get a little bit of that sting of the alcohol.
It's not an 8-year-old, thank goodness, but.
With Springbank, though, I mean, they made plenty of good whiskeys at 10 and 9 years old. So, 11 years old can be plenty.
They've released some pretty young ones from, part of their, distillery onlys that people love, so.
Takes a special cast, though, you know what I mean?
Yeah. This being kind of a blend of stuff. Now, mind you, there could be a few older casks in here. Who knows? My nose says no, but you never know.
It's kind of sashaying as it's softening up here as I'm kind of going back into like a nice lemon custard. A little bit of a whipped icing on the end of that sharp lemon. And it is a sharp lemon.
It's actually becoming very dessert-like as it opens up. Now it's almost like a lemon meringue pie with some whipped cream on it. Although I'm not getting the lactose notes that you might get on the whipped cream, but...
I agree. It's clean. Just a wisp of smoke in the background.
I was going to say there's a little bit of smoke and there's a little bit of sort of sea breeze.
Slight brine.
Yeah.
Yeah, sunshine, Yeah. It's a very nice, light, springtime, summertime whiskey. Go very well with warm weather. Day by the seashore, maybe slightly overcast. What are you picking up on the palate?
Oh, this would be great early morning by the sea or in the evening. Definitely on the sweeter side. Nice, oily, viscous mouthfeel, especially for 46%. Really doing a good job there. And that's an area I'm often critical of Springbank, but this one does a really good job on the mouthfeel. Yep, you're getting that creamy, milky, like vanilla notes that we were kind of talking about. You're getting some of that sea salt. You're getting definitely a nice little smoky peat note here. Real nice on the finish. These nice linger. We're kind of a little peat sting. The alcohol is very subdued here. We were talking maybe coming off young on the nose, but on the palate, it's definitely not old whiskey, but it doesn't give you any negative youth notes.
No, it comes off, you know.
Real good.
Yeah. First thing, I completely agree with as far as the viscosity. Very, very dense whiskey for 46%. Very oily. You know, it has a very, very thick, rich feel to it. Again, the lemons are really prominent initially when you take your first sip of this. It does kind of sashay into some more things that I more recognizable at Springbank. Actually, I was kind of getting a nice little ridge of vanilla as soon as I swallowed, kind of on the sides.
Milky, creamy. That was kind of what I was saying.
Yeah. I mean, you just say milky, creamy. For me, it was kind of just plain vanilla, but still right there. I'm right there with you. But things you would expect out of a bourbon cask maturation.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely some refilled casks. You're not. These probably weren't first fill or very limited in the first fill.
Agreed.
You don't get that heavy vanilla.
Correct.
And I think this lemon citrusy thing we're talking about, I get that a lot when you're using refilled casks, especially on Springbank products.
Not just Springbank.
Yes, but especially Springbank. Well, let me put it this way. I like it a lot on Springbank products. I don't like it as much from some other brands. I think it really plays well with their malt.
This reminds me, as far as the cask maturation, a twinge of that Nakadu 10-year-old we had. But the difference is Springbank is
good.
Yeah. You beat me to the finish line. Yeah, except for this is pleasant. But that's a really difference in spirit. You know what I mean? So this is also reminiscent of very much of the Balvenie 12-year-old single barrel. Now the bourbon cask one.
No, you're right.
It's a little more.
This is richer, more
sour. Decadent. A little more sour forward, a little more of those sour fruits, lemon, limes, and it kind of subtracts a little bit of the vanilla from what you normally think from a traditional bourbon cask maturation. And you're right. It's casks have been used a few times, but it's definitely something that I know a lot of people like.
It's got a good finish too. I mean, again, nothing crazy, but again, we're talking 11 years, 46%. Pretty nice finish. Really reminiscent of some of the Springbank and Hazelburn I've had in like the single casks. One thing I've talked about a lot of times, Mike, is when you get an independent bottler, what you're really getting is someone else's distillate that was immediately put in their casks and put in their rick houses. Now it's Cadenhead, so that means this went in Springbank's own wood and went in Springbank's own rick house or dunnage warehouse because Cadenhead's is owned by Springbank.
Meet your new boss, same as your old boss.
Same owners on both, but yeah. So this is very classic Springbank because it should be. It's Cadenhead's.
But there is a reused American oak version of Cadenhead that I'm picking up in a lot of a lot of their 8 to 11-year-old waffles.
Yeah, no. Which is kind of why I like Cadenhead's because it gives me a little bit of a Springbank note every time I go to it. It's like, ooh, that does remind me a little bit of that Springbank.
Okay, now, so with water, Dustin, it is becoming more dessert. I am getting you warm cookies, but I can't get past the fact that it's lemon cookies now. I mean,
I'm getting a little more brine, a little less lemon now.
I'm getting a lot more lemon, but the brine's turned up too.
It's more candy lemon now, or before was more sour lemon.
Sure.
There you go. Yeah.
It's brightening up as well. You're right. The actual experience itself is brightening.
Yeah, initially it was not an unpleasant, but a heavy sour note. Now it's more like a lemon head.
It was a lemon sweet tart before. I mean, it was punchy.
Well, minus the sweet. It was just a lemon tart.
Yeah, very, very punchy.
Yeah, no, it.
And I'm actually going to make a bit of pepper on this. Maybe a white pepper. Go along with that salt.
I could see that. I mean, it's spicy, briny.
Spicy.
Very lemony. Now I'm excited to try this now.
It's always fun to nose it with a little bit of water. Usually the palate's a little bit of a disappointment, especially when we're already starting at 46, but I hope for good things, at least for us, on this one.
I moved things around a little bit. Didn't change my experience. Kind of brought a little oak out, but not a ton. There's not a ton of oak on here. Brought out a little bit more of like a sour in the mid palate instead of up front.
Bubblegum sour.
I could see that. Yeah, I mean, it just nothing crazy.
It did thin it out quite a bit. I really, the viscosity and density of the whiskey is something I enjoyed about, and that was pretty much eliminated. Although I did do a healthy dollop of water.
May have gone a little lighter.
For sure. All right, Dustin, whiskey score time. And if you would allow me to go first. I always like Cadenhead, I always like Springbank. Just a little bit of a young offering, 46%. Probably some type of a blend, a mix. Good try. Enjoyable whiskey. I'm in an 86. I'm not over the moon about this thing. But if you can pick it up for, say, $100 or so,
That's what they go for.
It's a fun whiskey to try.
Yeah.
That all right?
I was between 87 and 88. I'm going with the 87. My enjoyment's probably 88, almost 89. I really enjoy. I like the Springbank distillate, and I like that this is a slight. It's an ever so slight play on Springbank that's different without being too daring and sticking with kind of the. I get annoyed with the independent bottlers because you get such a different oak profile than usual. So I like that this is Springbank in its element, but they definitely did pick something that's a little off profile from your standard 10. So that's kind of making me pretty happy here.
Sure. I mean, it's something you should do. Why try to create this?
So my enjoyment level is probably higher, but it's probably. I like it because it's different. That's not really a reason to give it a higher whiskey score.
No.
So yeah, 87 for me.
It is what it is.
Really solid. I think it's about $100. I'd go up to about 120 on this. Anything beyond that's where I'm starting to go. I don't think you're getting value.
You really want it because it's a Springbank.
Yeah, if you're spending more than 120, you're buying it because it's Springbank and you just want Springbank anything.
I get that.
I do too. I probably would have done it.
Anyway.
Actually, after shipping, I did.
Anyway, those are our thoughts on this particular whiskey. If you guys had a chance to try this Cadenhead Springbank 11-year-old, 46%, let us know what you guys think. Dustin, until next time, what do we wish the folks?
Happy, funky drinking.
See you then.